started podcast number 24. According to Emilio, you look like Cameron. Hey, that's not a bad thing. Young Cameron was a pretty nigga. You know what I'm saying? No homo. But I could take that, even though I think I look better than Cameron, to be honest. You think I look better than Cameron? Yes, or no? Thank you. I appreciate that. I think I respectfully, I respect him too. I grew up listening to Cameron. But let's get the music started. Episode number 24, right, Emilio? Emilio said it was 24. We're going to get into it right after this song. Today's topic is you should love yourself before you love her. You should have a life. I need some advice. I got you. Hey, just before we get into it, number 25 episode. Emilio said that's episode number 25. My bad, guys. Podcast number 25. Good looks, Emilio. By the way, guys, I know a lot of guys want advice. Listen, if you want advice, we have to do a FaceTime call. And that's my time. You have to pay for my time. I know a lot of guys, you want it to be free, but listen, I give a lot of free sauce on TikTok, and I have a whole podcast, link in the bio. If you don't want to pay, and I don't charge a lot, especially because, I have a very small following now. Well, relatively. So if you guys want advice, you got to message me, and then, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's so much free sauce. I don't even know why you guys want to. When I was listening to AMS, I just literally watched every fucking video after my breakup, literally every video, and learned so much. I watched him and like one other guy, you know what I'm saying? I learned so much. And then also life experiences too. But listen, guys, that's about it. But let's get started. I got it. Shawty, come kick it with me. You wanna put you in designer. You believe me? Maybe little shop is free. Baby, I ain't perfect, but you just right for me. Yeah. Nah, I ain't perfect. One chance I make you feel like you worth it. On the weekends, buy you Birkins. Weekdays, I'ma put the work in. Be the one that you've been searching. Slide on you in the Beamer. Got them white toes on. Podcast girl, number 25. We gonna get into it. Stay at, I'm a pleaser. You ever been courtside of an arena? Yeah, you know I got it. Nail appointments, I make the deposits. Buy you brands you ain't even thought of. Birthdays, it's gonna be a party. All your girlfriends gonna want me. Take you on vacation, girl. Time's wasting. Don't make you replace you, girl, just saying. No finessing, I ain't stressing. On my DM, shorty's pressing. Your boy been a blessing. By the way, guys, after this, I go on Instagram Live, right? So when I go on Instagram Live, you guys could chime into the chat. You could ask questions, and we could just get started, all right? You with me, I got it. Shorty, come kick it with me. James Harden's son. Nigga, I look better than James Harden and his son. Y'all niggas is crazy. Baby, I ain't perfect, but you just right for me. You know who James Harden is?
So who's singing?
That's Randy.
Oh.
You think I look like James Harden?
No.
Yeah, nothing like James Harden.
Shorty, why you keep blowing my phone? You know I'm with the squad. I hit you when I'm on the way home. I had to get this bag, so we take this trip to Rome. You know I keep the chrome for niggas acting strong, but hey, that's a different tone. Let me leave it alone. But remember, I hit the rock with my niggas. We hit the spot with the figures. I was dreaming about the bigger picture. Have a splurge in the shit. Get this money, put my word on the shit. Niggas ain't fucking with me like a virgin and shit. So how you gonna choose better? I hit you with that backstroke. I need that cheddar. These other niggas is lactose. Spin on you, girl, I do the most. Let's make a toast, live it up, and we can fly the coast. With that Birkin bag, you can boast. Shitting all these bitches that was trying to roast in the past. This money, I'ma make it last. Let's get this cash fast. Okay. If you with me, I got it. Shawty, come kick it with me.
I low-key look like Bow Wow. Oh, come on. I mean, I have been listening to a lot of Bow Wow lately. Y'all niggas is crazy. It's the braids. That's all it is. And I got the headband. That's all it is. And I got like brown eyes. That's all it is. All right, let's get into it, guys. So today's episode, he said, "Nah, Romeo, what's good, bro?" Oh man, Bow, that's almost one and the same right there. I remember listening to those guys growing up. All right, podcast number 24. So today's episode is about loving yourself before you love her. And today's guest, she don't really want to be on camera, but she don't mind being shown every once in a while. You want to let them know who you are?
I'm Avi.
All right. And she is a friend of mine. And she's just here to, keep me company for the podcast. I invited her, so that's what we're going to do. But right, let's get into it. So I remember, this has always been like a lifestyle of mine, just because I've always had a life ever since a very young age. And the reason why I say you have to have a life of your own, you have to be happy on your own before you find happiness in someone else. Because when you try to find happiness in someone else before you have your own happiness, that leads to a lot of things. That leads to a lot of problems. Like, for example, I know a lot of guys and girls too, but a lot of guys who if they break up with a girl, they get super depressed, right? They get super depressed, or a lot of people get suicidal because they lost a good part of their life. And a lot of people think, a lot of females in the comments think that I'm an asshole sometimes when I say you can't put her first. You laughing? Why is that funny? But no, a lot of people think I'm an asshole when I say don't put her first, but I'm doing it for you. I'm not doing it because of some female. No, that's not. I'm doing it for the interest of the guys. That's the purpose of my channels, for the guys. And the reason being is you don't want to fall into one of these situations where your life is whatever, right? And then you finally find love, right? You find love and you find a girlfriend, and then she becomes the most significant highlight of your life. And it's like, wow, it's so life-changing. And if you didn't have her, you wouldn't know what you would do. You don't want to fall into that type of situation, because then you become almost codependent. You become almost like a drug addict, like a drug advocate. You become really dependent on that person. And that's not something you want to do, especially a lot of you young guys. And the last place you want to do is fall into depression. And I know a lot of people get it, some worse than others. Some have to go on medication. Some people get suicidal. See, me, I have very fundamental religious beliefs where, for example, I grew up Muslim, right? So in my religion, it is a big no-no. It's a big haram for you to want to kill yourself. I was taught as a youngster, if I were to kill myself, I would end up in hell for all of eternity, right? And it's just something that's not permissible for you to take your life. So aside from, talking about relationship stuff, I always had that fundamental belief. So even if I got depressed to the point of no return, suicide would never be an option for me, because I have very deep-rooted and fundamental beliefs, very rudimentary beliefs that killing yourself is not an option, But not everybody shares those same beliefs. Not everybody has a moral compass. Not everybody shares that same degree of, religiosity or belief. So some people don't have that type of guidance, And this is why I say you have to be happy on your own first. You have to seek happiness within yourself first before you have happiness in someone else. And that's real. But before I get into the next thing I want to say, what did you think? What do you think about that?
I agree with you completely, 100%.
Do you know any girls that ever fall into that, or have you ever fallen into that?
I have.
You fallen into that where you've got really depressed and dependent on the person? Was it to the point of suicide?
No, it wasn't to that point, but it did take a toll on me. But I feel like what you're saying, if I loved myself more, I probably wouldn't have been in that situation.
Absolutely. And it is really important. And I emphasize on really, guys, putting yourself first. And the reason I speak so, and even females, you should love yourself a lot. But usually when these type of situations happen, it happens to everybody. And even still, even if you don't reach the point of suicide, if you get really depressed, you become stagnant. It's really hard for you to be up. Say if nothing was going wrong in your life, you have a certain amount of energy that you exhilarate, and a certain amount of life form that you have. But when you're depressed, you're not vibrating at that high frequency. You're not vibrating at the same frequency that you normally do. So you're not going to be as upbeat. You're not going to be as, in a good mood, versus when, you're not depressed. So even if you don't reach the point of suicide, you should be at least happy. You know what I'm saying? But and this is what I'm saying. Like, so the solution for all of this is you gotta have a life, guys. You gotta have a life. So, for example, me, ever since a very young age, my father's always kept me busy. I was an amateur boxer. I had about 100 and something amateur fights. So what that entailed was a lot of time in the gym, a lot of sacrifice time. I couldn't play with my friends all the time. So while a lot of kids were out playing after school or going over their friend's house to play video games, my time was cut short. I had to come inside and I had to be in the gym. So I was in the gym. I was in the gym boxing and training, sparring, building my craft. And if I wasn't in the gym, I was going around the country for boxing tournaments, fighting, just gaining tons of experience. So I was super busy and I had a life ever since a very young age. I had a life since a very young age. And even when I got in my teens, if I had a girlfriend, I only had maybe about an hour gap after school to spend some time with her. And my father kept calling, "Where you at? Let's go. Time to go to the gym." Or if I didn't see her, I went home and I had to do homework. Either way, that homework had to get done. So if I didn't have a girlfriend, or I didn't spend time with my girlfriend at the time, I had to go home and do homework. I had a little routine after school. Like, I would go home, I would get food. And this was when we had LimeWire, right? So I would go home, I would get food, I would like download me like a little porn, right? And I would go rub one out, go eat my food, and then like do my homework, and then wait for my father to come home and take me to the gym. And it was like a full like routine, and I got used to that. I like my routine, and I got used to that routine. And that's basically how that went. So as a youngster, I always had a life. So even when I had a girlfriend, she couldn't come first. Even when I wasn't aware of this, I still wanted to like spend more time with her, but I couldn't because my father was on my ass. You know what I'm saying? And then if I was doing bad in school, ain't no hanging out. Bring your ass home, or I'm coming to pick you up. Don't make me embarrass you. Have to yell your name in front of all your kids after school. So I was like, nah, I can't hang out today, baby. I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a lot of things. So guys, you want to make sure you have a life. Make sure you have hobbies. Even if you like playing video games. If that's therapeutic for you, if that's what makes you happy, play those fucking video games. You don't have to put her first all the time. It's like, all right, even if you say, all right, babe, let me just call you back because I want to play my video. She's not going nowhere. She's not going nowhere. She's not going to go cheat on you and leave you because you're playing video. Take your time. And space is what makes a relationship last longer. How can she have time to miss you if you don't have a fucking life, if you're not spending any time away from her? Time away makes the heart grow fonder. And that's the truth. It is the 100% truth. So guys, you have to have a life. You have to have a life. And that's the key to it. Even if it's going to the gym. When you go to the gym, and this is another reason why. I remember when my ex, I would bring her to the gym with me. And it was just such a distraction for so many reasons. Like, she wanted help. I had to help her. If I didn't help her, she felt as if I wasn't showing that I cared about her. And then I'm trying to look at her. I'm trying to make sure other guys is not looking at her. Or like I'll be looking at her, she wearing some tights, I get turned on. Like, it's just too many distractions, So this is why I made a new rule. I don't work out with females. I take my workouts very serious. Obviously, me being a professional fighter, when I go to the boxing gym, I can't work out with them, period. I just rather not have them around. Maybe in a boxing gym, but like all they can do is look. I can't work out with them anyway. But when we go to the fitness gym, I take my workouts very serious, and that's time for me. That's time for me to advance myself. That's time for me to get better. So I don't work out with females as a rule. Like, if I'm gonna work out with you, I'm gonna work you out. Like, I'm gonna take you to the gym, and I'm just gonna basically tell you what to do. I won't be working out in that time. You know what I'm saying? And that's a lesson that I learned. And that's time to yourself, guys. Having time to yourself is very healthy. It's very healthy. So don't think that if you're not spending time to yourself, that she's not going nowhere. She's not. If anything, that time apart is gonna help your relationship, and it's healthy. And you know what sucks is a lot of you guys start off a relationship spending every single day together.
That's really bad.
Yeah, it is. You spend every single day together, and then you set this standard. And then if you've run into a guy like me, and I'm trying to tell you to have space. Have some space apart. Don't spend every day with her. It's kind of hard to change that dynamic. And then she's going to think that you guys are growing apart. You're acting different. No, you're just elevating things. And trust me, it won't hurt her. It won't.
Just trust me. What do you think about that?
No, I agree with you, because how you set the tone in the beginning of a relationship is how it's gonna go
Absolutely.
for the rest of the relationship. So if you guys spend every minute together, that's all you guys are gonna expect from each other is every minute together, and that can become really toxic.
It is.
It is toxic.
I agree. I agree 100%. Like, how do you think that can be toxic? I want to hear what you think.
Because you spend so much time with someone, you just become like so like into them and everything about them, and that's just all you think about. Everything they do, or everything. You just think all about them all the time. Yeah. You don't even think about yourself no more. Yeah, so
that's a bit obsessed. I mean,
yeah.
I think that you can even still be a little. Yeah, it's definitely toxic, bro. And I think even still, you can still make someone a bit obsessive with you without spending that time with you. You can come to those same results, but I think that you'll get tired of the person faster if you're around them every day. Seriously, because if you're around somebody every day, there's no way you can feel for that person the same way you felt in the beginning towards the end. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, and then I hear couples say all the time, like, oh, the love start to dissipate, or, you know, the spark wasn't the same. And then so much so that people don't even understand how important space is in a relationship. They'll say, even before they get in a relationship, because they think this is normal, they'll say, you know, eventually down the line, you know, the sex is gonna dwindle down. It's gonna, like, the spark is gonna dwindle down because, oh, you know, that's just the way no, that's not how things should go. That girl and that person should have, whoever it is, she should have a crush on you the same way they did in the beginning throughout that relationship. And the problem is, a lot of people don't know how to maintain it, especially guys, because usually how it goes, a female will take the lead of a guy who is in that relationship. Like, for example, most of the relationships that I had, I don't drink. I never forced anyone to stop drinking, but eventually they stop drinking because I don't drink. Usually, if you're a man and you take the lead, they follow your lead. If you smoke a lot and she was a smoker here and there, it doesn't really matter. More than likely, that's a habit that's going to latch onto her. The more dominant personality, their traits and their habits are going to take over. It's like, you know, whoever you hang out with, you become that person. You know, it's like if you hang out with a blacksmith, you're going to get your hands dirty. You know what I'm saying? If you hang out with somebody who's rich, you are going to increase in wealth one way or another. You can never be around someone and their habits don't rub off on you. So, you know, it's very important, guys. My point is that you take space and you put yourself first. You know what I'm saying? This is the way you should see it. If a female comes into your life, and you should already be happy. Seriously, you should already be happy. And you got to see it like this. My life is so happy. My life is so ecstatic. Like, say, for example, like I had, like, she's not my girl, but let's say if she was my girl, right? And I said, like, I was like, all right, I got to do my podcast. I came from the gym. Literally, this is my day. I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I ran about 3 miles, correct? I ran 3 miles. I came back, showered. I had to be to work at 7:30. I worked from 7:30 to 4, right? 7:30 to 4:30. I got off of work. I came home. I ate a little food. I went straight to the gym. I was at the gym at 5:40 to like almost 8:30. Came back home, showered, and now I get to do my podcast. I get to go live with you guys. And in between all that time, I'm making TikToks at work, after work. My life, I enjoy my routine. My life is exciting. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, for fun, I like to go on roulette. I like to, like, do, even though, you know, gambling is haram, but I like to do it sometimes. It's something that I enjoy, and I'm working towards my goals. Like, you know, I have really big goals this year. So either way, without anybody, my life is exciting. Now, let's say she's not my girlfriend, but let's say if she was, right? And then she told me that she was going to come over, say, for example, at this time. And let's say if she said, you know what, I can't make it. Some guys would be upset because they're expecting to spend that quality time with that girl. But what if I said, you know what, that's fine. I can do an extra podcast, or I can go live longer with the guys. You know what I'm saying? I can go live longer with my people. Because after this live, real talk, after this, I go on Instagram live. So anybody that wants to chat with me, has issues with what I'm saying, has questions, I can do that. And this is time well spent. And then even still, lately, I've been watching Spider-Man lately because I got the Disney Plus. You see, I have it on the TV. Even though I try to make a rule not to watch TV during the week, my life is exciting. Like, there's so many things that I can do if I'm not spending time with a female. So if she does come into my life
and that's like an add-on. That's like a plus. My life is already ecstatic. I already feel like I'm the shit. You know what I'm saying? I already have tons of validation. But if a female comes into my life, then that just is an add-on. That's just a plus. You know what I'm saying? I could do without it. Honestly, like I'm very strong-minded. I can almost go monk mode. Even though that would be kind of hard. Seriously, I could probably.
But that's how it should be. I feel like that's how it should be because you got to be more to yourself because what's that saying? Like misery loves company.
Right.
So like, you gotta be comfortable with yourself, love yourself, like you said, vibrate high, elevate your frequency so you can meet someone that can match that. So you're not dependent on them all the time.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you guys, usually that's how when you have a life and you're not putting that girl first all the time, that's how females literally fall in love. And that's just my opinion, honestly, because literally any girl that I've talked to more than 6 months has fell in love with me. And obviously it's a combination of things. And I'm not trying to be cocky, but I think honestly it's a formula because it never fails. It never fails. It never fails to happen. It's like I almost expect it at this time. Like I almost expect it. I'm very well rounded. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ingredients that play into a relationship. But one of the main things is you don't put that person first. The only way a female should score high on that top 5 important things that come into your life, if she's your wife, and then that's still not even I would say she's still not number 2, is when she bears your child. When she bears your children, then she becomes number 2, and she still can never be number 1 because God should come first. You understand? God should come first always, and then your purpose still. Because if you don't have your purpose, how are you going to take care of your family? How are you going to make a living? You know what I'm saying? So she should never, ever really come first. And that's not something that and I know a lot of females don't have that type of understanding. Like, oh, I should be number 1 in his life.
But that's because this actually goes deeper than that. Because like you said, how you were raised is why you're like this. I feel like that's how it is with everybody. Because everybody has a certain type of attachment style that they give towards people. So it has to do with how you were raised. Like I realized with myself, which I worked on, I had an anxious attachment style. So it's like when I was with my ex, like if I didn't hear from him and stuff like that, like I would feel anxious and I would feel like something's going on. It has to do with like the way you were raised. Like maybe you didn't have like a certain type of attention growing up or something like that. It all takes a part in how you react to other people.
I mean, I get what you're saying. So you're saying you're a product of your environment. Like however you were raised, the things that you put importance on are the things that you're gonna, display in your relationship. Basically.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, yeah, and it does, and I feel like that is the case, and I feel like most people, and it's not that. I think on another level, society brainwashes us. If you listen to our music is always telling us.
See, that's like a whole different type of thing, though. Like it's true, though. It is.
And then even still, if you talk it, and then everyone is always telling us to, treat her nice. She's a lady. You have to be nice to her. And then when we're growing up, who do we have exposure more to, women or men? And women are going to tell their perspective. And I'm a true believer that you cannot take relationship advice from women. Obviously, there's always exceptions. I feel like there's always exceptions. There's exceptions to every rule, but I'm a true believer in that. Think about it. At home, who's your first teacher? Your mother. Because that's the person you're going to spend the most time with. You don't have a bond with anyone else on this earth like you do with your mom. And I think one of the biggest mistakes is guys, they equate their relationship with their mother to the female in their life. But you got to understand that female will never love you like your mother. Because you come from your mom. You came out of your mom. You was inside her for how many months? 8-9 months? However long it took you to be birthed. Your mother has unconditional love with you. A female will not love you unconditionally. There's always, number one, if you cheat on her, she'll probably be out. Not always, but she'll probably be out. You know what I'm saying? It's always conditional love. You have to provide a certain feeling or a certain type of something. Like whether that be you make her happy, she loves you, or you feed her mentally, you provide her with knowledge, or you fuck her good, whatever it is, you're providing her with something. So it's conditional.
You know what I'm saying? And I promise you, if you subtracted 3 or 2 of those main things, that relationship would change, and it's conditional. But see, that's even, and I agree with you what you said when you said that, a lot of things are, how people were raised. That does play a factor into it, but also society brainwashes us. Have you ever heard Put That Woman First by Jaheim?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, when she started coming in late, when she stopped answering calls, when you find the numbers in her purse, you better put that woman first. This is indications that a woman is cheating. Why would you put a woman that's cheating on you first? No, when she does that, that's when you don't reward bad behavior.
It's like half and half. It's like half of what society does to you, and it's like half of like what you're raised.
Yeah, but it takes a community to raise a child, and that's a lot of things that plays into those factors.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your mother. That's your first teacher. I love my mom, but I would not take a relationship advice from her. She tried to tell me. Working on my ex. My ex, she didn't cheat on me. My ex did me dirty in some type of ways. No, my mom does not give good advice. As much as I love I would kill for my mother. I would die for my mother. Honestly, that's how much I love my mom. But I'm not going to take relationship advice from her. And then what? We go to school. You go to school. Most likely, most teachers are what? Women. Especially kindergarten teachers, your first few years. So by the time you're about 12 years old, you've been brainwashed into thinking that you have to treat a lady nice. You have to tolerate her. You have to be patient. No, fuck all that. You don't respect people who don't respect you. You're not going to be loyal to somebody who's not loyal to you. You're not going to treat, and like I said, I think I made it very clear that you put yourself first. You have to have a life of your own first. And this is very deep. And before I came to this realization, the first person that I heard talk about this was AMS. AMS stands for Alpha Male Strategies. There's a guy on YouTube that I used to listen to for about maybe 2 years, 2 or 3 years after my breakup until present day. And I learned a lot. And a lot of the stuff I was already doing, he's like a date coach, but a lot of the stuff I was already doing, but I was doing it naturally, just being myself. Because I think I've always been favored in that, like when it comes to like relationship stuff, like I've never been on like the short end of the stick. Like I never like had a hard time with girls. I've always gotten along with girls and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, listen, you got to put yourself first. You got to have a life. And obviously along with the other things that I talk about, and just respect, and trust me, when you have a life first and you put yourself first, you won't have to worry about, if a girl, like say for another example, and last example I'll give, if you had date plans, right? If you had a plan to go on a date, and that's how it is sometimes. I'm like, damn, I would go on this date, but fuck, I could really be like doing something productive, or I could be training, or I could go run an extra like 2 miles, but I'll cut it short and run 3 miles instead of 5 because I know I have to get ready. I have to shower up and get ready for this date that I got. There's always something more you can do. So let's say if you have a date and you're about to get ready and she pulls some bullshit and cancel on you last minute. Well, you know what? That's fine. I can always there's always so many things that I can be doing. You need to make your life so abundant. You'd have such an abundance mentality and so busy that even if you get canceled on, you're not going to be super mad and butthurt and frustrated and depressed and mildly depressed and go home. Oh, I'm just, no, man. Like if somebody canceled on me and we were supposed to go out to eat, I'm going to stay home and watch Spider-Man. Like, I fucking look at the Spider-Man poster. I love Spider-Man. Like, yo, that is like, because, and really, I don't watch TV during the week, but I kind of been breaking my code this week because it's so nostalgic for me because it's one of the old Spider-Mans. And I used to watch this shit when I was younger. And it's just really nostalgic for me, So, and that's basically that, guys. You got to have a life. And then when you have a life and your life is so ecstatic and that person comes into your life, they're like an add-on. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, guys, after I get off a live, I'm going on Instagram Live, TrueNation_RedPill. Join the live with me, and then we can get into it. Hey, Emilio, what episode is this again? I think that's 25. Podcast number 25. I done fucked it up a whole bunch of times. Let's end it off. Podcast number 25. Guys, make sure you jump on the Instagram. We're going to go live on Instagram for a little bit. And then we're going to get into it. Nah, but look, I'll tell you this. Look. Hold on a second. I want to show you something. I got it. Shawty, come kick it with me. You wanna put you in design. Look at this shit. Maybe little
Marvel Encyclopedia.
Baby, I ain't perfect.
Lit.
But you just
This shit is big as hell too.
Nah,
So like gives like
I ain't
almost
perfect
every
when chance I
Marvel
make you
character
feel like you